Hey guys, it's Spike with the Pagan Vlogs, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about reading. Now, it has been a long time since I have sat down and read a book cover to cover. And the reason for this is that, for back when I was younger, I used to read a lot. Like I used to read all the Harry Potter books specifically. Before I would go to bed, it would be normal to me to pick up a book and read it. But when I look at a book now, and for a while, like books have started to become associated to me with school requirements and whatnot. And so it's like whenever I think of reading, it's like, I don't want to do that. That's going to take me forever. And it's going to take such a huge chunk out of my life. And it might be because of how when I was in middle school and in high school, they really started assigning a lot of reading in a short period of time. And I don't like feeling rushed with reading because it makes me not enjoy it. And I think it made me just not enjoy reading for a while because I really associated a lot with what I was required to do. Um, but then I've recently started getting a few books from the library. But most of them are not the type of books you'd want to get from the library anyway because they're more reference books. Or I will like get a bunch of books and then I'll be like, shit, I don't really need these. And then one book I started to read, and I was going to read it all the way through, was basically an introduction to paganism that that I didn't end up finishing because I felt like I knew everything in the book. Like I just felt like, why would I get an introduction to a religion I've been practicing for over a year? Thinking maybe I missed something, but I pretty much knew most of it. But after I turned that book in, I picked up this book. And I challenged myself to say, I'm going to read it within the course of about a week. And that's basically not something I normally do, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. So when I got back to the house from the library, I started reading. I read the first chapter, and this book, I must say, is definitely worth the read. Like I said, I just got it from my library. Um it's a book that you can read cover to cover. There's some information in there that you may want to just keep, like the prayers at the end. And just basically, you might want to write notes if that's the sort of person you are. I really am not that sort of person, but I might regret not being that sort of person. So I'd suggest, write notes if you like to. Um, but this book it's a spiritual book, but it's not like a book on a specific spiritual path. But I think that for spiritual people, it is helpful to our spiritual path. Um, and this book talks a lot about intention, and it talks a lot about white magic and black magic and how it really attacks it on a very core level what being white magic or black magic is. And when I say white magic and black magic, I mean we all do both. But white magic is positive intention, black magic is negative intention to harm. It's all magic, I understand that. But in the context of this book, the idea of white magic and black magic as opposing forces really makes sense. And what it basically is telling you is all about how you by just thinking things or just saying something and spreading gossip, spreading rumors, being rude to somebody, you are spreading your poison. You are spreading black magic, which only seeks to poison you more. And so it really talks a lot about those things. And it's a very good philosophical book. You do not have to be follower of any religious tradition to read this. But it tells you to be impeccable with your word, speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others, and use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. That's the first agreement. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality and their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. That is the second agreement. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. That is the third agreement. And always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self judgment, self abuse, and regret. That is the fourth agreement. But there's definitely a lot more information in the book than just that. It really elaborates on each one of those concepts, and it really sort of, for me, it really hits those concepts home. And it really made me realize in my own spiritual path, and for me as a person, kind of, not so much what I've been doing wrong, but it sort of helped me to understand where I need to focus myself on, not just on like a magical way, but in like a very practical way. It's helped me sort of say, look, what do I want to focus on in the sense of how I want to be towards others and how I want to treat others. And when I was reading this book, I was going through a very difficult time, and it really helped me see it in a new light. So I highly suggest this book, The Four Agreements. If you can, see if it's in one of your local libraries. See if you can find it and maybe check it out, because it's definitely worth the read. I highly suggest it. And it's not a long read either. For me, I found that I had plenty of time where I would just be doing nothing otherwise to read this book. And, I'm glad that when I had the 10 minutes that I took the book out and I read, because I read through it pretty quickly. And I finished it, and it's been a long time since I've read a book cover to cover. So if my ass can finish it, then I'm sure one of you can also. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest it. Apparently there are lots of other books by this author, and there's even a deck, like a card deck, that is based on the Four Agreements. And I think it might be based on wisdom from other books of his too. But a very good book for someone of any spiritual path. But I mention it on my Pagan Vlogs channel because I would suggest it to pagans out there too. I would suggest it as a book to read, so they can sort of understand a little bit more about the importance of intentions. And I think that it helps one understand. I feel like when he's talking about magic, it speaks to me deeply in the sense that magic is ingrained in each one of our everyday life. Everything we do is, and every thought we have, every intention we send out, we are performing magic. By thinking, negatively about a person, we are performing magic. But by let's say someone that we've had a problem with in the past, and instead choosing not to hold any hatred for them, but simply to wish them the best in their life, we are also performing magic in that way. Very strong magic. And it doesn't take any ritual or any tools. But sometimes magic doesn't. Sometimes magic is just about, it's really ingrained in the way that you live and the way that you behave in your life. So, and I think this book really looks at that and really teaches you the mindset, I think, that all people should take on, but really for us as pagans to, and especially witches, to take control of our lives, and to take control of ourselves, because it seems like that's ultimately what a lot of people go into witchcraft for. Not just power, but power over our own self, power over our own experience, our own dream, as this book would describe it. And our own reality, and that's what witchcraft is. And I think that this book teaches you a strong way to take control over that on a certain level. Of course, it doesn't teach you how to, do candle magic to make something happen. What it teaches you is how to have the perception necessary for happiness, how to have the perception necessary not to let things harm you. And I mean, it's not going to teach you to be perfect, but it's going to teach you to get to that point. So, the Four Agreements, check this book out. I highly recommend it. I mean, again, I wouldn't, unless you really feel of like it's something you want to keep in your bookshelf, because I know some like reference books for me I like to keep in my bookshelf, so I prefer to buy books that have to do with like any sort of reference, or find something online and print it out. I'm not gonna get a book that's not just a one-way read through, at least most of it, at a library. I'm gonna want to own a book like that, but for this kind of book, I don't think it's necessary to own it. But if you want to own it, fine. But if not, just find it at your local library. See if there's a library nearby you that has it. I found it at the closest library to my house. They didn't really have any books on paganism, but they had this in the section where it would be. So that's just a suggestion. So yeah. If any of you have read it, tell me what you think. And if you haven't read it, and you do decide to read it, let me know. Did I lead you in the right direction? I sure hope so. So thank you for watching. It's Spike here with the Pagan Vlogs. Peace out. Much love and blessed be.